begin with our usual prayers. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Welcome to this weekly class on Srimad Bhagavad Gita for practical life. By the grace of Master Mother and Swami, we are studying chapter 2 called Sankhya Yoga. We saw how, for the questions of Arjuna, say, Krishna started answering. What Arjuna asked, said, you are talking about a man of wisdom, a man of having a buddhi with complete tranquil, a man having a buddhi undisturbed. Who is that person? Where is that person? How does he walk? How does he sit? How does he talk? This is what Arjuna asked. For that, Sri Krishna has been explaining certain signs of a man of wisdom. So this is called Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Lakshana means signs. Sthita Prajna means a man who is established in wisdom. In that, we are seeing verse 66 and 67 and 68 we saw. Last week we saw 68. How the senses be handled by a man who is trying to be or trying to reach the state of established wisdom. For that, see, Krishna said, Tasmat yatyasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashaha indriyani indriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. Verse 68. Therefore, O mighty armed, his cognition is well poised, whose senses are completely restrained from their objects. We saw the first part in the last week, how that his cognition is well poised. That means, nigrihitani sarvashaha. All the five sense organs are under his complete control. That I explained the word nigraha, nigrihitani, comes from ni, stands for nischayena. That means definitely control. How it is. The senses are completely restrained from their objects. But what is the use of the sense organ if it cannot come into contact with its respective sense objects? Suppose there is nothing to be seen, then what is the use of having eyes? Suppose there is nothing to be eaten, then what is the use of having a taste organ? Likewise, all the sense organs are becoming useless if there is no sense objects. So sense objects are also created by God, by the nature, and that will remain. and sense organs are remaining, do you want us to completely cut off from the sense objects? That is the question. It is raised in psychology because Hindu psychology goes much deeper into the mind, and it says that you can control your sense organs and you will not entertain your sense organs with the sense objects. Okay, but that example also was given by Sri Krishna, like a tortoise. A tortoise is that it can withdraw its limbs within the shell. Likewise, a man can remain. But then Sri Krishna adds in the very next verse, no. If a man can withdraw himself from the enjoyment of the sense objects, but is that enough? No. Because in the mind he may be having the taste for enjoyment. So the taste for enjoyment continues to be in the mind. Though he has physically withdrawn like a tortoise, mentally he is having the sense enjoyment without having the sense objects external. So that is called Vidyachara Samchade. Sri Krishna says that type of person is said to be a Mithyachara. He is not a Satyachari. He is a Mithyachari. He is a false person, a false yogi, a false guru, a false God man. So what happens? They only say outside they are God man, but in the mind they are not. So slowly Krishna develops this psychology, and he says here very beautifully that Indriyani Indriyatebhyaha Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. He must understand, that yogi must understand that these sense organs are having contact with sense objects because of its nature. I am not the enjoyer. Aham na bhokta. I am not the enjoyer. So I am not karta. I am not the doer. Neither the doership nor the enjoyership is superimposed on me. It is by the nature the sense organs are going to the sense objects. I am not worried. So here, Swami Chittanandaji explains this particular verse with his beautiful commentary. I thought I should read it out and explain also. He says, the very purpose of being blessed with the senses. We are having 5 senses. How many people are there in this world not having in full all the 5 senses? They are visually impaired persons. Eyes are not there. Hard of hearing. Ears are not there. And they lost the taste buds in their tongue. They cannot understand whether it is salty or sweet. So the sense organs, all the 5 sense organs, fully active, it is a great blessing. If you have all the sense organs in full healthy condition, it is a great blessing. After telling that, he says, the blessed, the very purpose is defeated if the sense organs are not allowed to contact the objects. So that's why initially I asked the question. If there are beautiful sceneries out there, and if I am asked not to see, then what is the use of having your eyes? So the very purpose of making the sense organs in your body gets defeated. That they should be rendered defect is not the teaching of the Lord. Now he is bringing an explanation. What is the explanation he gives? The Lord does not say, make your sense organs defunct. That means, don't use them. He doesn't say. What does he say? The deciding factor between good and evil is the attitude with which the senses are directed on the sense objects. You are having a mind which is established in steadiness. How does it get established? Because you know what is good, what is evil. We discussed about the good and evil in the previous weeks. So this good and evil idea must be very clear. That is called Viveka Buddhi. Viveka means discrimination. So the Viveka Buddhi tells me that this is good for you, this is bad for you. And Viveka Buddhi tells me, because this is bad for you, don't go by that road. When the Viveka Buddhi tells me, follow this path, this will lead you to goodness, then I accept the Viveka Buddhi. So the good and evil have to be clearly earmarked. Then he says, what is the attitude you are going to have to the sense objects? Perceiving them with covetousness is sin. Take the sense organ of eyes. You see something outside. Now, what is the attitude behind the sense organ eye coming into contact with the sense object of, say, an item? Suppose somebody is wearing a gold watch. Your eyes are looking at that. Eyes are sense organs and the object is the gold watch. What is your attitude? So, Psychology says, the deciding factor is perceiving them with covetousness is sin. Oh, I must have that gold watch. Covetousness, that means jealousy. Covet not. Isha Upanishad says, Isa Vashyam Idagam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Taktena Punjita Magrita Kasyasvidhanam. In another's property, Magrita, don't covet, don't be jealous. Don't think I must have that from the other person. So the sense object is that gold watch and sense organ is I. I am not perceiving it for getting it for me. So what I do? I view the object of adoration. Then it becomes a virtue. Wow, what a beautiful kirita. You know the crown for Lord Shiva they have given. You go to a Shiva temple and see a golden kiritam is put on the Shiva's head. And you look at that, some magnificent it is, and it's all gold dazzling. And you admire, wow, what a wonderful, this crown made of gold, and it is dazzling, and it's so fitting on the head of Lord Shiva. You admire, you adore. You don't think, I must get it somehow. In the night when the clip is closed, I will come and loot it. That attitude is a sinful attitude. But when you adore, a beauty comes before you. And what do you think? This beauty must be enjoyed. That is a sin. But you have an attitude, wow, what a wonderful beauty God has given this person. I adore that. I bow down to that. Then it is a virtue. So psychology says, perceiving them with covetousness is sin, while viewing them as objects of adoration is virtue. Likewise, take the sense of taste. We all like to eat well. If a good prasad is given, again you come for the function, because in our function, nice khichdi is given. Let us go to have a nice khichdi then. Okay, we will do that. But Chitwanji says here, gluttony and slavery to the tongue is sin. One spoon I took, second serving I took. But then it is so wonderful, let me have another 2 servings. That is called gluttony. I am unable to stop my eating. Though I know 2 spoons is enough for me, for tonight. But because it is so tasteful, I go and have another serving. That is called gluttony. And gluttony, he says, and slavery it makes you slave to the tongue. So what tongue wants, you do it. Today also one lady said, can I bring something from India, some nice sweet meats? I said, no, I am diabetic, don't bring any sweetness. If I have gluttony, what you say? Yes, bring. So wonderful sweet you bring. I'll definitely eat it, I say. But I stopped her. No. Because if you become slave of the tongue, you want more and more and more. This sense organ, that tongue, it becomes slave of the sense object. So it is said, it says, gluttony and slavery to the tongue is sin. But what is virtue here with regard to the sense of taste? He says, eating to keep the body fit for a noble purpose is virtue. What is virtue? Eating for the health of the body for a purpose. That is, God realization is the body's function. So let me keep my body fit. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. Our great sages have said long back. What is for this body is to be maintained? Khalu. Indeed, it says dharma sadhanam. This body is to be used as a method, as a means for practice of dharma, not for adharma. So the body is meant for that. Then it says, beholding the body, see again he brings another example for the sense organ of eyes. Beholding the body of a person with a lustful eye is sin. A very handsome, beautiful figure is there. And if you see that, and in your mind, the lust idea comes. I must enjoy. So if you have the lustful idea, then it becomes that attitude brings the sin. But at the same time, you say that viewing it as a temple of God is virtue. Because every body is considered a temple of God. In this body, God resides in my heart. So since God is residing in my heart, so this body becomes the temple. That's why the yogis say in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Patanjali Rishi says, the body has to be kept absolutely clean all the time. What is the reason? He says, if you keep the body in utmost cleanliness, the attachment to body slowly goes off. If you decorate your body, standing before the mirror for hours together, attachment to the body increases. But if you keep your body clean, then the attachment to the body decreases. This is some wonderful idea in the yoga we find. So, it says, beholding the body of a person with a lustful eye is sin. Viewing it as a temple of God is virtue. All the five senses can be sublimated and the sense objects sanctified in such a way that the divinity alone is contacted in and through all of them. Then he says, Sri Ramakrishna perfected his sense of sight. How did he perfect his sense of sight? He is traveling in a horse carriage in Calcutta. And there is a small window. And through the window, Ramakrishna, like a child, is looking and he is seeing what is happening. You know, Calcutta is city. It's a great city. In those days, Calcutta was the capital of India. So many things are happening in the capital. And he is looking at that. And there was a tavern. And the tavern ladies, they were all standing outside. And seeing them, immediately Sri Ramakrishna took his palms and is putting his palm together and making pranam within the carriage. Of course, the carriage was moving. Now, once a young boy was sitting there. After some time, he asked Ramakrishna, "Sir, you are doing pranam to the tavern ladies?" Said yes. Do you know who they are? They are characterless ladies. Then what Sri Ramakrishna replied? He said, Mother Kali is appearing before me in that form and giving me darshan. I don't see them as characterless. I see them in that form. Mother Kali herself is come. You see how the perception is changed. The same eye is a sense organ as we all have it, and the same object is there. If any other person of that's why Paramahansa is a Sthita Prajna. He is a man established in wisdom. A man who is established in wisdom, his perception changes. So, he says, Sri Ramakrishna perfected his sense of sight so well that all women folk, including the street walker, were to him veritable embodiments of Divine Mother. How wonderful! If a very well-to-do family lady comes, then perhaps the lustful thought will not come, even though she is so beautiful. And says, we think, oh, what a wonderful, a queen comes. Nobody will view her. But then, if any other street walker, anybody can have lustful thought. But then, Sri Ramakrishna proves here, no. The sense perception has to be changed. In another case also, in Ramakrishna's life, when the temple workmen, they felt very much upset with the Ramakrishna. The Ramakrishna, instead of doing puja, he was not doing puja all right. Like that they felt. So they complained to Rani Rashmani. And the complaint went to Rani Rashmani that puja is not being done. Now you understand, the topmost in charge of the temple, the owner of the temple, has received a complaint. What she should do? So she should come and see for herself. So one day she thought, let me go and see. Anyway, before that, the temple people, why they thought Ramakrishna is doing his duty properly? Because they watched him while performance of the puja. So Mother Kali is standing there and he is sitting in front and all the puja things are arranged before him. The plates are there, water is there, kamandalu is there, all the kusha, kushi, everything is there. And he is taking the flowers, instead of offering to Mother Kali, he is putting it on his head and he is sitting in meditation. So they thought, this man is not doing proper puja. So he should be removed, he should not be puja. But then Rani Rashmani, when the news came, she wanted to test him. So she came one day suddenly, unannounced inspection, as we call it. You know, in our boys' zone, like that we have unannounced inspection. So the inspectors, they come and they look around. So like that, the Rani Rashmani went to the temple. And when she went there, and she was sitting there, and he was telling Choto Bamun, Gan Kuro, at a Gan Kuro. Like that she was telling, sing one song. And Choto Bamun is Ramakrishna's, his voice was very melodious. And he started singing. While singing, Sri Ramakrishna was in ecstasy. And after the singing over, he opened his eyes and looked at his Rani Rashmani. And before everybody, when Rani Rashmani comes to the temple, all the employees are there, including her priests, you know, the watchman is there, small that iron rod, they are standing there. All of them are standing. And Ramakrishna got up, went near her, and simply gave a good slap on her cheek. And stunned, the whole employees there, group, they were stunned. What is this? She had the pujari after all, paid employee. And that paid employee is slapping the Rani. Immediately they wanted to pounce upon him, but Rani stopped. And how great Rani was. You know, she said, it is good that Ramakrishna slapped me because instead of putting my mind on Mother Kali's holy feet, my mind was on the many litigation cases that are going on against the Dakshineswar temple. So he brought my mind back to Mother Kali. I'm thankful to this Choto, she said. I'm thankful to Ramakrishna because he brought my mind back. So that Ramakrishna, these employees, they got more upset. Now Rani Rashmani, whatever he says, she is accepting. So another thing, you have to give a bad name to this Ramakrishna. How do you give bad name? So Kamini, Kancha. These are the two things you can abuse a person. If you don't like a person, you can give a bad name in these two things. And the world will believe also. So what they did, they paid some prostitutes and told them, in the evening hours you come and try to entice Ramakrishna. So, and we all will be watching from different places. And what Ramakrishna does, let us see. So these girls, they don't have any other way. So they received the money from him, from the manager. So they came. What they did, when they were coming, and in all their regalia, they were coming towards him, and Ramakrishna was walking at the banks of the Ganges. And while walking, he has been telling, oh Mother Kali, that he is singing in his own way. And he was walking and walking, suddenly he stopped, because these four ladies, they stood before him. The moment he saw, immediately he fell down at their feet and said, oh mothers, how wonderful that you have come to me today. My pranams to you, he said. And the four ladies got so ashamed. Instead of, then they fell down at his feet and took his feet in their hands and cried. Then Master said, get up, get up. Why you are doing like this? Why did you come in front of me like this? Then they said, because the temple authorities paid us to entice you, he said. Then Sri Ramakrishna closed his eyes, then said, never do that. Never do that. I consider you all divine mother. Don't do this. Like that he consoled them and they went away. You see, that is the perception. Simple, the five senses we have, should we use it or not? We should use it. What Siddhanaji says, it is Krishna's idea that we shall use these five senses, but often change our attitude. So in each of these, you change attitude. You like the laddu, okay, you go and take laddu from the Hanuman temple, the round temple. Doesn't matter. You eat it. But what you should eat it as a prasad, as a Hanumanji's prasad. Take it, it doesn't matter. Because sense organ of taste, sense object of the laddu, they should come together. Let it come together. But the attitude inside must have not the feeling of enjoyment, but the feeling of I am taking the prasad. Like that you should take. Sublimation of the senses was at its zenith. Mastery over the senses in this manner makes one competent to gain intuitive knowledge of the imperishable. So what is the use of changing the attitude while having the sense organs coming into contact with the sense objects? What is the purpose? So it makes one competent to gain intuitive knowledge of the imperishable. Akshara is called Akshara Brahman. The Brahman is called Akshara. It is imperishable. That means cannot be destroyed. If you want to know the imperishable, the Brahman, then one has to practice this with all the five sense organs. That will make our buddhi pure and make us competent to comprehend that imperishable. This knowledge, once obtained, persists forever. Once you obtain the knowledge of the imperishable, the knowledge stays with you. So the next verse 69, is where another beautiful verse comes. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. That which is night to all beings, in that a disciplined man wakes. That in which all beings wake is night to the Atman cognizing Muni. How do you explain this? Sarva Bhutana Ya Nisha. Sarva Bhutana means all the jivas in this world. To all of us. To all of us, Ya Nisha, what is night? And Tasya. All those, that night becomes Jagarti. It becomes daytime. For whom? For Sanyami. One who has got all the control of his five senses. To him, the night becomes day. In short, the meaning is, to all the beings, what is night is to this great yogi, it becomes day. Then he says, Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, Bhutani to all the beings, Yasyam, that which Jagrati is daylight. What happens? Sa, Nisha, that becomes night for that Muni. Muni means the great person who is full of meditation. And that meditative mind, that Muni, for him, that becomes the night when all the beings enjoying the day. It's very contrary to statements. To everyone it is night, and to the controlled one, the Sanyami, it is day. And to everyone when it is day, the yogi sees this as night. What is this? Is it physical sense? It is like that. That means when Vivekananda was in existing, at that time when all people had a night, it appeared as a daytime to him? When Ramakrishna was there, when everybody was seeing in night, did he think it is a daytime? Or when everybody was feeling daytime, was it night to him? Is there any deeper meaning to this? Or only the physical meaning? So for that, you have to go to Chittananda's explanation. How beautifully he explains to see. The faculty of seeing varies with beings in the physical plane. While man is able to see distinctly in broad daylight, owls and tigers are not able to do so. Day is therefore virtually night to them. And what is night to man actually serves as day to them. This is a small thing that we all understand. For instance, owl. If you go to zoo and see or bird park and see the owls in the daytime, they are all sitting quietly. They can't even move from one place to another place because they can't see. But in the night when you go, if you got a chance to see the owls, they call and then they move from one tree to another tree, and even they catch their prey and they eat also. So for the owls, night is like a day. But what we do in the daytime, what other animals do in the daytime, an owl cannot do. But the night is like daytime to the owls. So, day and night as physical facts are one thing, and as a practical value, quite another for beings differently constituted. That means there are general constitution of common people, and the great sages are differently constituted. What a beautiful word he has used so many years back. Nowadays only we are using differently abled. We are using the word. We don't say disabled person. That word is no more used in English. We say he is differently abled. And Siddhaji has used some 80 years back, differently constituted, that type of person. Like Paramahansa was a differently constituted, not like ordinary being. So what is the difference here? Men are not all wakeful to the same thing. Now this waking time and the night sleeping time, these two is bringing. A thief is well posted with particulars in his field, while the rest are all hidden in darkness to him. Now this is a very beautiful example he gives. Consider a thief, a man who is planning to loot. He has got some planning that I will go to such a particular place and I will take something. For that man, he is planning that, and he knows exactly what is the topography of the area, at what time he should enter, who or all will not be there, or how weak a particular time will be when the watchman will be taking his night food. All these things he has studied well. Now, he is awakened to the facts of his method of looting. But if you go and ask him, what is the population of Singapore? He won't say. He is not a population expert. If you ask about science, he won't say. Those subjects, what happened to him? Those subjects are hidden in darkness. So if you are well versed in one subject, you are awakened to that subject. And what about the other subjects? You do not know. So you will have to say, well, my dear, I do not know. If you ask me how the eclipse, recently we had sun eclipse, not in Singapore of course, in US and other places, the eclipse was visible. If you ask me what is eclipse, I don't know. But you ask me what is Gita, I will be able to tell you. So if I say like this, what is the meaning? The Gita, to Gita's knowledge I am awakened, but not to the knowledge of the astronomy. Likewise, I may be good astronomer, but you come and tell me what is the definition of Bhairava. I said, I don't listen to music, I don't know what is music, don't ask me. You say, what does that mean? You are awakened to the astronomy knowledge, but the music knowledge is you are dark. Is it not? So, figuratively speaking also, what is night, what is daytime, what is darkness, what is light, you can understand. In figuratively speaking, it can be understood with one man, with one knowledge and versus to another knowledge. So he says, a thief is well posted with particulars in his field, that's thieving, while the rest of the subjects are all hidden in darkness. To a gambler, his game is as bright as a day, other concerns being enshrouded as if in darkness. So he won't know about the other subjects. The learned see well into the literary world. A literary man comes, he will always speak about the literary world. How many good people are there? A person who is an expert on Rabindranath Tagore. Recently, one gentleman came. He was so expert on Rabindranath Tagore, he could just quote from Rabindranath's poems. And he is so well aware of that. But I asked him, have you read about Tirukkural? He said, no. That is dark for me. Rabindranath is light for him. He is awakened to the Rabindranath poems, but not to the Tirukkural, because that is dark. So that is hidden to him. The same word opens up different vistas to different people in accordance with their dispositions. What is your disposition? Disposition means temperament. What is your temperament? If your temperament is in music, music word, music knowledge has come open to you, but astronomy is closed to you. If you are an astronomer, astronomy knowledge is open to you, but music knowledge is closed to you. To people who are sense-bound, things earthly are all real and they are immersed in them. They are wakeful to the mundane. Now, he's bringing this analogy to what Sri Krishna has said. What a beautiful way he's bringing this analogy. He says, those who are earthly, worldly bound creatures, there are hundreds and millions of people out there who are worldly bound. They don't like to listen to good ideas. In Dakshineswar, when Sri Ramakrishna was talking about God, some people would come to see the Kali temple. At that time it was very famous as Rani Lasmani's Kali temple. Now people don't say like that. Now people say Dakshineswar Kali temple. But in those days when Rani Lasmani was there, people used to say Rani Lasmani's temple. And then they used to say. So people would take, hey, Rani Lasmani has built a beautiful temple and there is a wonderful garden. Let us go for just a stroll there. So people used to come. And while moving around here and there, they would see a room and the room doors are open and some people are sitting. So these people also would come and quietly sit in the corner and listen what Ramakrishna is talking. And Ramakrishna is fully immersed in godly thoughts. So he's speaking about God. 2 minutes were not over. People they will get up, say, hey, let us go and see the Kali temple. Come. Because their ears are not accustomed to hearing the godly thoughts. They say, what is this he's talking? He's talking all nonsense for us. We are not interested. Let us go away. Like that, they go away. So those who are immersed in worldly thoughts, for them, they are wakeful. That means they are wide awake to the worldly knowledge. To the Brahmagyani, on the other hand, think of a Paramahamsa. What happens to him? On the other hand, who has conquered the senses and who has awakened to divine consciousness, the spectacle is completely different. For him, it is different. His intuition, his concepts, his percepts are all filled with divinity. Whatever is Brahman to him, he cognizes existence as Brahman and not as the mundane. To a Brahmagyani, to a Paramahamsa, how the word appears. The word does not appear as the word. What it appears? It is God only. It is Brahman only. So, Isha Varsham Idakam Sarvam. The entire world, Sarvam, is Isha, is only the Lord. The Lord is permitting the entire world. That is how He will look. But when we, as the ignorant people who are immersed in the world, when we see the world, what we see? We see trees, we see elephants, we see lions, we see the world as the world. For a Paramahamsa, the world does not appear as world. Considering he goes to zoo, Paramahamsa was very interested in seeing all these things. So one day he told M, let me go and see the zoo. M said, okay. Calcutta Zoo is very famous zoo. It's very old zoo. And Paramahamsa went there. And when he was taken into the zoo, there was a cage and a lion was there. And Paramahamsa went like a child. He went and looked at the lion. The moment he looked at the lion, all the others who went with him, they are seeing the lion. Ah, what a majestic lion is standing there with its mane and it is moving here and there. So majestic. Like that they are talking by the time Paramahamsa has gone into Samadhi. What happened to his vision of lion? When he came back, he could not move further. So they held him and slowly they brought him and put him in the carriage. Let us go back to Dakshineswar. So when he came back to his senses, he said, the moment I sighted the lion, it reminded me of the person who is sitting on the lion and moving, and that is Mother Durga. I saw Mother Durga and my mind went into Samadhi. See the bird, he also saw the lines and others also saw the line. But for him, it is not mere line. It is the Mother Durga's Vahan that line has come. When you see a bull in Benares, everywhere bulls are there in Benares. When you go to Benares, you will be surprised. So many bulls are there. And these bulls, when you see bulls, do you see Nandi? This is the Nandi Vahana of Shiva's great bull, where Shiva rides this. If you can see the Nandi in the bull, then your perception is different. You are called differently constituted. Your personality is differently constituted. That's what Siddhanaji has used the word. So beautiful word it is. So if you see as a mere bull, then you are like all others, mundane. According to the attainments, beings are attuned to different planes of existence. That's why when different temperament people are coming, different planes of existence we are living, in the same family, 5 people are staying, husband, wife and 3 children. Or to add to 1 father-in-law, mother-in-law. So 7 people are there. And 7 people have got 7 types of thoughts on one subject. How do they get it? Because 7 planes of existence are there. The in-laws are one existence, plane of existence. And the husband and wife are another plane of existence. Children will have another plane of existence. So we always differ. According to the plane of existence, you view things in that order. That's why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, don't say his path is wrong. Because according to his plane of existence, that path is true for him. Let him practice that path. Never say, my path is the right path. If you say that, you are not a Ramakrishna devotee. If you follow Ramakrishna, you must accept all paths leading to the goal. All paths are valid. Never criticize that man is because God is within him also. If he is the wrong path, God who is within him, he will correct him at the right time. You don't need to worry about the others. Sri Ramakrishna says to him in a very funny way. And so, the planes of existence are different. That's why our tuning also different. Now, Sri Ramakrishna's one example he gives. With the realization of God, everything undergoes transformation to the Jnani. It is God himself that has become the phenomenal universe and all the beings in it. The Son is then perceived as a boy Krishna. Father and mother undergo metamorphosis as a divinity. The wife is no more his mate. He sees the cosmic mother in her. Recognizing God in all, adoration to him takes place through the worshipful service of all. That's why Vivekananda said, service, service, service. Seva, seva, seva. Do seva to everyone with the idea that God is residing in everyone. If I have not attained the God realization, a man who has attained God realization will see the whole world as God. But then Swami Vivekananda gives a new idea. He says, practice this idea. Though you have not attained God realization, you practice this idea that God is in everyone. By this practice itself, one day you will reach that state of realization where everything, the whole world becomes God. What a wonderful existence that is. And that is called Sthita Prajna. We shall continue next week. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tatsat. Sri Ramakrishna.